Hey everyone, I just wanted to stop by real quick for this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Clouser, literally the same name as the name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side. I just kissed the shit out of this mic. You probably couldn't tell, but I did, and I feel like I'm a little hot too in the microphone and my levels. Lower me down a little bit, Mike.
I was asked a question the other day, which is, why do I clean my hands prior to having a wee? I had to answer the question, and I told the person it's because my penis is always cleaner than my hands. Why would I use dirty hands to hold a clean penis? That is why I always wash my hands prior to going to a wee.
Welcome to The John Show with your host, John Doogie Clouser.
All right. What is going on, everyone? How are you? We are here on a new episode of the Juan Solo Show with your host, me. Hi, how are you? Hi. It's all right. This is like the first time I'm actually looking to the actual camera. What's up? Hi, how are you? I'm your host. I'm John D. Clouser. What's going on? Yeah. So if you're new, welcome. If you're a returning guest, I want to say thank you so much. It's nice to see you. It's nice to know that you're here. Yeah. How's everyone? Is everyone doing good? I would take roll call, but I don't know who shows up. I show up, so that's the reason why I say my name. Say my name. Anyway, so I'm in a weird, goofy mood tonight. I'm in a weird, goofy mood. So we're here, on October 15th, Friday. It's like, what is it? 7 minutes till 12. So it's almost October 16th. This month is halfway over, guys. Can you believe that? This month is already... You know what's so crazy? That I'm already going to go into something about COVID. That it's so crazy how we've been dealing with this for like 2 years now. We're going on the 2-year anniversary is in like November, right? That'd be like November. This basketball season starts next week. Isn't that insane too? That basketball season starts as well, and we're into week 6 of football season. It's just like we're just doing it. We're just getting her done. That's what we're doing. We're doing it the American way. We don't, some of us here in America, what we do is we put one boot on one leg at one time at a time, at 1 foot at a time. Put our jeans on, but we put our jeans on first, then we put our boots on, then we put our cowboy hat on last. Because how can you put a t-shirt on if you have a cowboy hat on? You just can't do it. Stretch out the neck. You don't want to stretch out your neck. And what we do is, and then we get in our Ford, F-O-R-D, not a Ram, not a Dodge, even though it's the same company. But I don't know how to spell them, so I only go Ford, F-O-R-D. And we do the American way. We do it. Freedom. I love freedom. That was one of the greatest things. But I recently been able to kind of figure out why we think like that, freedom, or why we're so against this. Not even anywhere I was gonna go. I don't know. I'm rambling. This is like the first 6-7 minutes is just a huge ramble. Then I kind of start getting into what we're talking about. But how we use freedom as this thing, because I think it's just because we've had no control over the last 2 years pretty much. And we've been told to stay home. We've been told to wear masks. And like the last thing is like we're freedom. We have freedom. And this is like the last thing that we're holding on to. And I think that's one of the big reasons why so many people are so anti-science and all this anti-vaccination stuff. I don't know. Just don't do it. Don't do it. I honestly don't care. Do you. Be you. It just blows my mind just that you've been living in America. Ever since I've been living in America, we've been getting vaccinations and other shit. Anyway, yeah. Why am I talking about this? You guys don't come here for this. You guys come here for dumb stuff, right? You guys come here for dumb stuff. You guys want to hear a dumb story. So we're going to have to go back to like when I was 16, almost 17 years old. I don't think I've ever told this story, but we're about to tell a story. I'm about to tell a story. It's a little. I think it's a funny story. I think it's absolutely funny. Looking back on it now, I rather had it been this thing. I rather had the person who thought this thing think this round, have it think that it happened this way. I do love how this week, what's so funny? Like I feel like the last 3 weeks, I feel like I've been in this huge mental fog. And I've just been like, when I talk, I'm just like blah 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 blah. It's just been a big thing, and it's just you guys want to recenter, because this podcast has gone absolutely nowhere. And this is what happens when you sit in a room on the third floor of a mansion and you're talking to a microphone, looking to a camera. This is what happens. You are like, well, sometimes what are we going to talk about? So anyway, I digress to tell you this story. Let's rewind back to when I was like 16 and a half, almost like 17 years old. Let's say around there, because it was like around this time when I was like 16, almost. So I was like 16, but I was going to almost be, my birthday is in January. So you can do the math of how close we are from that happening. Well, anyway, so I went to this party with a couple of my friends, and they're like, hey, you want to go to this party? It's this upperclassmen people, because I was 16 years old. I was like, what, a freshman, almost a sophomore year? Was that somewhere like that, around there that time? And I'm like, yeah, I'll go to this party. Let's go. Upperclassmen, they were seniors. I was like, well, fuck yeah, let's do this. So we go to this party. There's alcohol. I drink, because I'm like, I didn't have to drive. I didn't drive there, so I know I'm like, I can get home as long as I can drink some. And I'm gonna get home, and I'll be fine. So, long story short, I am just drinking a lot and getting absolutely hammered. Smoke some pot, do the normal thing, just simple shit, just simple stuff. And it was time for us to go, because like my curfew is, I think, 12:30 at that time. And I'm like, well, fuck. I'm like, I'm in the car. I'm like, fuck, man, I'm really drunk. And I'm like, well, how am I gonna get out of this? Because I know, I'm like, dude, my eyes are bloodshot. I'm like, it's just like belligerent. And I was able to say like focus and like try to talk, but like everything was really blurry. And I'm like, fuck. I'm gonna get in so much trouble. And so we pulled into my driveway, and my friends were like, okay, well, they turned the car off, and like, well, we're gonna go straight into the house, and we're gonna try to get you downstairs, and we'll go from there. I'm like, okay, well, anyway. So we go into the house. My mom is still up, and I'm like, fuck. So I have to like talk to my mom, and she comes up to me. She's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, what do you mean, what's wrong with me? She's like, you look like you've been doing some stuff. What drugs have you been doing? What have you been doing, huh? And I'm like, I haven't been doing anything. So she comes and she looks at me. She's like, why are your eyes so red? I'm like, they're not. She's like, your eyes are really red, John. Why are they red? And why do you just seem like really, like you're trying to like hide some kind of emotions or something? And my mom's like on it. And I'm like, fuck, oh my God, I don't know. I'm like, I know. I'm like, I just don't want to talk about it. And she's like, come on, what is it? What drugs? I'm like, there's no drugs, Mom. I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk, or I'm not on any drugs. And she's like, then what's the problem? I'm like, well, and guys, to this day, I don't know why I chose to go down this lane, but this is the lane that I chose, and this is what happened. I was like, well, Mom, I went to this party like I told you I was going to go. I went to this get together, and I saw this girl I was dating, and I was dating, and she was I saw her kissing another guy, and so I just got really upset by it, and I just cried. She's like, you cried? I'm like, I cried. She's like, you cried over a girl? I'm like, yeah, I cried over a girl. She's like, man, like, she's like, just go to bed. Like I don't know what kind of guy what kind of man I'm trying to raise, but this is not the kind of guy. You're crying over a girl. John, you're almost 17. Like, why are you crying over a girl? Like, you have your whole life in front of you. Like, what are you, a pussy? And I'm like, all right, that's great. So I went downstairs, went in my room, and I'm like, well, that's nice. And still to this day, I'm 33 years old. My mom still brings up, she's like, hey, remember when like you came home and your eyes were all red because you're crying over a girl? I'm like, yeah, I do. She's like, she told my family on Thanksgiving. You know, John cried. John came home one night when he was in high school, and he was crying over a girl. His eyes were all red and stuff like that. And I thought he was high or drunk or something like that, but he was, just crying over a girl. It's like, good job, John. It's like, so I don't know if my mom watches this or not, but now she knows the truth that I was just she was actually right, and I was incredibly inebriated, and I was incredibly high, and I shouldn't have been doing any of the stuff I was doing, but I didn't drive. That's the key to the thing. If you're gonna do it, make sure one of your friends drives. And they're a DD, and they didn't do anything, because I had some good friends like that. Was like that. Thanks, Evan. But yeah, that was like one of the most dumbest things I've ever done. Well, not the dumbest, but that was like that's still a story. I don't know why I thought about it. I was at work today, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I was doing. I was just doing dumb stuff, and that thought just ran through my head. I was like, oh yeah, and I'm like sitting there just laughing at myself, or just laughing to myself, because I'm like, dude, this story is insane. I'm like, why would you, like, why? And like, your mom always thinks this. And the thing is, like, I'm adopted. So what's so funny is, like, this is my adoptive mom. This is not even my bio mama. So like my adoptive, she's like, God damn it, did we pick the wrong one? Like God, why would he cry over a girl? I didn't. I was so drunk. But like back then, like, even though, think about it, I think I was like 5 beers at most. I mean, now if I drank 5 beers, I'd just be I'd be like kind of tipsy, but I guess I'd be fine. Would I want to drive? No. Should I drive? No, should not. If you drink one, then you're done. That's what I say. You know how they're always like saying those rhymes? Like, if you drive high, what is, like, if you drive drunk, click it or ticket. That's one. I love how I'm like, well, high. No, I can't think of anything that rhymes with that one. If you choke, you'll smoke. I don't know. If you drive under, you'll get pulled over or something like that. I think it's something like that. There are always those weird things that they're trying to rhyme. And the weirdest one to me is the bet. Like, if you have a gambling problem, it's like, call 1-800-BET. It's like, what? Like, why would you name it bet or something like that? Wow, good job, John. If you're gonna like bring things up, you should actually know like what you're talking about. What are you doing? Who are you? It's just like, Jesus. So what else do we have here? You guys know what soaking is? I don't know why I have this on my thing. So soaking. I don't even know how did this even get brought up to me writing it down, because I write down random notes throughout the week, and it's just so I have something to like. I'm like, okay, well, if I can't think of just something to talk about, I'll just jump to that, and then we'll just go from there. But I don't know why why I even wrote down like talk about soaking. That's literally what I wrote down. I wrote talk about soaking and like how you found out and who told you. So I guess we can talk about another story about my family. My dad is the one who told me about soaking. I was like 17, almost 18 years old. So I was like getting close to graduating high school. My dad was like, you know what soaking is? And I'm like, nope. What's that? And he's like, so when you're in the Mormon religion, and this is what's so crazy, because like my dad grew up in the Mormon religion. Me, not Mormon. No, we are not. I am not even aware, not even close. Nowhere close. Nowhere close to that stuff. Nowhere close. And I can actually tell you the story of like how I found out my dad was Mormon. But he's like, yeah, you know how I grew up Mormon? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, when in the Mormon religion, you can't have sex before marriage. I'm like, okay, yeah. He's like, what we do is we do soaking. I'm like, what's soaking? And he's like, well, you get hard, you put your dick into a girl, and you just sit there. And you just like let it get soft. I'm like, that seems like the dumbest thing. And you know what another dumb thing that happened? So I was drunk one night and I called my nephew, but my nephew is like 5 years younger than me. So we're pretty much brothers in that sense. And he was like, yeah, he was in college at that time. He's like, yeah, dude, I'm like fucking this girl. And I fuck her raw. And then right before I come, I pull out, I put a condom on and I finish, and I go back inside her and I finish. I'm like, and he became a doctor. He's a doctor. He's a surgeon. This guy's a surgeon now. And I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would you ever do that? You either just go all out and then like get to the point where you're almost going to about to come and you pull out, or you just wear a condom the whole time. That's incredibly silly. Incredibly dumb. It's just, it seems like more of like a waste of time than anything. Like that and soaking both seem like just a silly waste of time. But yeah, it's my dad. But my dad, about how I found out that he was Mormon. So growing up, we always had a Bible, a Quran, and a Torah in the house. Always. My parents were always like super, hey, learn about religion, know about the religions. You should be, educated. Educate yourself. Really cool thing. I recommend everyone should do that with their kids. Like, have those things in the house so if they have questions, they can just have references. They have places to go. And then it's almost in a way like you can control how much they learn at the beginning. So you can, it's one of those things. And then, in the sense of that, then it makes you have to be knowledgeable because you are trying to educate, your offspring. Anyway, I'm not going to preach because I don't have kids. I'm the last person you should ever listen to about any of that kind of shit. But anyway, how I found out my dad was Mormon, or he grew up Mormon, was because I was like, I don't know, 14, 15 years old. I was at school and I was just Googling stuff and I looked up Mormon faith and I started looking it up and I'm like, what the fuck is all this stuff? Like the Promised Land is Independence, Missouri, like, Indians are the lost tribe of Israel. It's like, what the hell's going on with all this stuff? It's like, okay, this is interesting. It's just, I think all religion is interesting. I think it's interesting. You should know about it. I think it's cool. Like, why would you not want to know about other religions? Because it can only help you with like your faith, I believe. And it's just faith. It's faith. It's like what you have is faith. It's not a religion what you believe in. It's like you just have faiths in certain things. And so when you have that, then when you look at other faiths or other beliefs, you can see it and you're able to understand it. And it's just like, at best case scenario, you're like, huh, interesting. Not anything I want to believe in, but I get it. That's cool. Someone believes in that. No big fucking deal. And you move the fuck on. You don't have to write a vlog about it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to sit on a podcast and talk about it. Anyway, but you can just go on and just do your thing. But yeah, so I learned about all this interesting stuff, and I'm like, but a lot of it was just kind of silly because it's all American based, because it's all about like someone who had only lived in America their whole life and had never seen any other country or any other groups of people. So I was just like, this seems a little dumb. And then that, like, like you're gonna stand in front of like Jesus, God, and Joseph Smith. Like, what the fuck, Joseph Smith? Like, of course, it'd be like some random fucking guy is gonna, of course, include himself in the fact that he is like part of the promise group. It's like, what the hell is going on? And my dad, like, we're at the dinner table, and my dad just got up and just left. And my mom was like, well, John, your dad grew up Mormon, but then when he met me, he converted to what we believe in now. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'm like, well, I did not know that, so I should probably shut the fuck up. It was hilarious because like I'm like, wow, that was a big foot and mouth moment for me as a young man. But you should learn those things. You should have those things happen to you because that's how you grow. And this is what this whole episode's about: is growth and becoming better, and trying not to allow your ego to get tarnished, and then to have that ruin future endeavors with things and with people and projects and all that stuff, because it's like that could easily happen. Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like I should, like, since like I say something like that, like this it's a really passive thing, and I should talk about it. But I'm like, it's so fucking dumb. So like, I'm just working on a project. Try to film some stuff for that project last night, and I hit up the person middle of the day yesterday, and just see like, hey, is your group of people gonna be able to come and help? And we're gonna do this huge group together and film stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, we totally forgot. It's like, dude, we talked about this 2 days ago, and now like we were based around doing it, and like I'm trying to confirm, and now you're doing this, and you don't seem like you really give a fuck. And it's like, what the fuck you doing? Like, why are you trying to, like, you were the one that came to me with this project. I'm not the one, but now you got me all excited, and like, now why in the fuck are you doing this, you cunt? And I hate that shit. That stuff annoys the fuck out of me, because like I'm super passionate about this. Like, even tonight, like, it's like anything. Like I said, this is what, October, now it's October 16th, right? 2021. Like, this is just some random little thing I'm doing. I'm just doing this to practice. I do this to practice. So practice my audio, practice my video, practice all of my stuff. Because that's what you should be doing. If you're an artist, you should be doing your art, and you should be practicing your art all the time, even if it's like not going to get you anywhere. Not anywhere in the sense of like something like this. Everything you do is productive, but like, some things are more professional versus some things you're just doing because like you are just trying something out. Ugh, and you can't do those things unless you can't do those things unless you do stuff. And that's what's irritating the fuck out of me, because it's like, dude, you gotta do stuff. Like, these have to be the priorities. Like, these are the priorities. Like, your comedy, film stuff, like this stuff is going to help you, because it's going to be able to give you stuff you're going to do something, and then you're going to be able to grow from it. Because you're going to see like, oh, I should probably do it this way more than that way. Oh, and it's just irritating. And so it's just, it's what happens when you try to work with other groups of people. And that's the thing I'm learning, is that I have to get more patient with people and understand that not everyone has like that super intenseness. I'm super intense with what I do. And I do it just because I do it because I love it. I like doing this. Like, I wouldn't do it unless I like doing this. So because I like doing it, I just do it all the time. And so like, you can either like come on, come out, come over, don't come over. I don't care. That's like, I don't care how many views I get on this. A couple months from now, I'm gonna have episode 100, and I'm gonna be doing it this. And I'm like, I've done this 100 times, and that's insane. That's awesome. That's a cool thing to have. That's a cool mindset to have. The thing is, I'm doing this because it's making me better as a filmmaker. It's making me better at lighting. It's better making me at just doing audio stuff, video, all this stuff. And I know I keep repeating myself, but it's what it is. But this is how you should be this intense in whatever you really love. That one thing that you love, or the things that you love, you should be super intense like this. And you're like, this guy's fucking intense. What the fuck, dude? It's like, but yeah, like, don't you want a filmmaker to be like this, to make art for you? Like, if you're gonna like sit down and watch something for 2 hours, wouldn't you want someone who's like this intense about what he's making, so you can sit down and relax and watch it? Like, because when you have a lot more like you'd give you would have more of a sense of like, okay, this guy, like, oh, he really loves it, like he really cares about it, so like it's gonna be decent. Like whatever he gives me is like it's gonna be thought out and given to me in a good way. He's not just gonna throw out some like random shit. That's my respect for you, because like you shouldn't be like looking at this stuff, but if you do watch this, then fuck yeah, you should get someone who like cares about it. Like that's the reason why it irritates me. Like you should be doing stuff like all the time. It's like, because you're only gonna get better by doing it. You could sit there in your mind and think about all the time like how I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it, but if you don't just do it, you're never gonna get good at it. Ugh. Duh. But it's just it irritates me, but I have to learn that not everyone has that intense feeling. I don't know why, but why would you not? Whatever you do, why would you not have like that super intense, like I want to be the best at this. I want to, every time I move at this and I do something with it, I want to be good at it. Like why would you not have that feeling? But who am I, whatever. Like we say, to each calzone, right? To each calzone. You wouldn't believe that I've only had one beer. Nothing's worse than a beer that's hot and that lasts a drink. Because you're like, oh, that's gross. That's the worst thing in the world. So, what else? What else do we have? What else do we have to talk about? Getting zits in weird places. So I have like a zit on my elbow right here. And I mean, let me tell you guys, probably one of the most painful things I've had to deal with in a long time. It's the worst thing in the world, but it's always weird to get zits in the weird place. You're expecting to get zits on your, like, your face, but then when you get some like weird one, like on like your rib cage, you're like, why is this here? Like, why do you exist? And then you kind of you're like, oh my God, it hurts. And then like as soon as you touch it, it just like you can literally feel it expand to like twice the size it was. You're like, well, that's nice. I'm glad that I somehow infected myself even more. Now, look at me. I'm a disgusting mess. And you're like walking around kind of weird. Like, please don't touch me. Please don't look at me. Like, just, I'm an awful human right now. It's like, ugh, I'm a monster. I am such a monster. Oh, man. Where are we at? So, I thought about I should do like predictions every like of the football games, but I'm like for like the last like 2 minutes of the podcast, which we've about to enter into the 2-minute warning. I mean, I guess that could be like this is what I do. This last 2 minutes, I do the predictions of the football season or every game of the week. So all these games are playing this on Sunday. So anyway, so I guess one of the first games, or I guess the first game that got played was yesterday. Technically, it was the Buccaneers versus the Eagles. Buccaneers won. I watched that game. It was surprisingly a lot closer game than you thought it would be, but it was good. It was a good game. So anyway, Vikings versus Panthers. I think the Panthers will win by 3. I would say probably 23-20. Next game is Rams versus Giants. Well, the Giants are so goddamn fucking beat up right now with all these injuries, and I don't think Jones is going to play because he was concussed because he was a moron. Decided to think that he could run over a goddamn cornerback, which he probably should have been able to. He's 6'6", so I think the Rams will win this game, 35-20. Next game, Chiefs will win 17-10. I have 50 seconds left. Bengals versus Lions. I would say Lions 13-10. Next game, Cowboys versus the Patriots. I'm going to say Patriots 23, Cowboys 20. Seahawks. Oh man, we're gonna have 23 seconds left. Seahawks versus Steelers. Ooh, this is a good game. This is the evening game. I'm gonna say this will be Steelers 30, Seahawks 23. Bills versus Titans. All right, well, guys, this is gonna be the end of the podcast. That's all I got. So let's 2-minute warning right there. That was 2-minute warning. Let's see. I have about 15. Oh no. About 40 seconds until the whole camera shuts off, and that'll be the end of the podcast. So I want to say, if you've gotten this far, thank you so much. We'll work on that 2-minute drill. See, that's the whole thing. We're like a football team now. It's a beautiful thing. We'll do the 2-minute warning. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. It's so stupid. Anyway, if you gotten this far, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, give it a thumbs up. If you just give it a thumbs up, that's the most prettiest thing in the world you can do. That makes me feel good. It's like, oh, someone watched it and actually like gave it a thumbs up. But yeah, wash your hands. Look both ways before you cross the street. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. All right, guys. Bye.